Welcome to Describing the Skybox, the podcast that's like a book club for people who don't think that books reward them enough for being good at them. I'm Chad Rutherman.
And I'm Andy Kinnick.
And today, we're going to be talking about Donkey Kong Bananza, a game that was developed by Nintendo EPD, published by Nintendo, and released in 2025 on the Switch 2.
But first, if you give us a like or a rating, it would be greatly appreciated. Chad, can you describe Donkey Kong Ultimate Destruction?
Yeah, so Donkey Kong is No, actually, I've changed my mind. The answer is I cannot describe it. Donkey Kong is like a platformer, like 3D platformer game, but it's also like a 3D action game where you can deform terrain by punching through it. It's a collectathon game, but your methods of interaction are not quite the same as like in a Mario collectathon where you just jump across stuff. And also sort of it's unique adjacent is how I would call it. Mm-hmm. I thought it was a fairly novel type of game.
Yeah. It has earlier 3D game energy to it in the sense that like it feels like they were experimenting with the Switch 2 and like the boost in the power of the system, and they were like, we can do this voxel like destructible environments thing now with this like increased blast processing. So and that like kind of seems like it may have inspired the game in a cool way.
Yeah. I think before we go on talking about the game, can we spare like a minute to just talk about the Switch 2? This isn't, technically speaking, the first Switch 2 game that we played for the podcast, because you did play Hades 2 on the Switch 2.
That is true, I did.
But this is the first like exclusive Switch 2 game that we've played. And it is, I will say, a noticeable bump. This, like, on the Switch 2, I've played like 2 hours maybe of Kirby Air Riders. And I played Pokopia. And those two games do not really push the Switch 2 in like a way that I feel like those games couldn't exist on the Switch 1. Whereas Bananza, clearly that is what it's going for. And you can tell it appreciates the updated hardware a good bit to make all of the destructible environments work.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but like I really fell off playing in handheld mode ever. After I had my Switch for like a handful of years. And same has been true of Switch 2. Like I got it and I don't think I played handheld almost at all. But the last couple of days I played some of this in handheld mode, and like I think it's even more noticeable there. Like the performance and like the resolution is pretty noticeable in handheld.
That is true. You are aware. I don't talk about this on the podcast very much, but I've gotten very much into the sort of handheld space, which has given me a lot more context as to how the Switch 2 is. I know from reading online that people were upset about the Switch 2 not having an OLED screen, which to me is, I mean, whatever. I own OLED devices, I own non-OLED devices, and you can tell the difference, and there are sharper, the color gradient is different between the two and whatever. The screen on the Switch 2 is like one of the nicest screens I've ever seen in my life. And I know that everyone is like, oh, it sucks and there's ghosting or whatever. But it's like, one, hardly noticeable. And two, it almost looks like, there's like ebooks that have, it feels like it's printed onto the screen. I get that feeling from this screen, and I don't know how they do it.
Yeah. My second monitor, which I'm looking at right now, is a drawing tablet, and its screen is like that. And I actually really like to play games on it whenever I capture footage. Like there is like a weirdly nice quality. I don't know if it's because it's more matte or what exactly it is about it, but there is something like it almost gives it like a little bit of texture that a regular screen doesn't have or something. Yeah, it does look nice, I think. I agree with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, I think it looks super great. I haven't played anything on it where I would notice the ghosting. Apparently Mario Kart is pretty bad about it,
Mm.
which makes sense
I
because
mean, I
it's got
didn't
a lot more
notice,
movement.
but I wasn't looking for it, I guess. Because I actually completely forgot about this.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause I do remember
Uh,
people talking about this.
but I played about half, maybe even a little more than half of this game in handheld mode, because that's just how I operate. I prefer to do that. We were talking about what games we're going to be playing up after this, and I was like, damn, I'm not going to be able to play either of these in handheld mode. I'm going to have to dedicate time to sitting in a chair to play these. And so I was generally pretty happy with it, but I did play the like finale of the game in handheld mode and definitely noticed it chugging a good bit on some of the end game fights. So yeah, the Switch 2, as much as I'm like I hate console exclusive sort of like the economics of having new consoles come out and there not being that perceptible of a difference and it feeling like a waste of time and money is a thing. But I don't hate having the Switch 2, I'll say.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably just because I've been entrenched in Nintendo since I was a kid. But like, I agree with that, except for Nintendo. Like, they've always been the exception. Like, I feel like their stuff always feels like it's worth owning.
Yeah. Well, plus they often will use hardware that makes it like impossible for their games to even show up in other contexts. Whether that be like a handheld with two screens on it or the Wii remote as a concept.
Right.
So it's always been kind of valuable I wish that there could be that innovation without the need for it to be a hardware exclusive, but I also kind of understand how that isn't economically feasible. So I also will just get all the Nintendo shit all the time because that's what I do.
Also, the Switch 2 and this game are a year old already somehow.
We went from being the podcast that had the perfect for the Switch award on our end of year awards show to being the podcast that let the Switch 2 exist for a year without talking about a single game exclusive to it.
Yep. Because yeah, it felt like I got this game and then like played the beginning of it and then was like, and then blinked. And then we're doing it for the podcast. I was like, oh, it's already been a year. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, how has this
It's
been
insane.
out that long already?
There are several other games that like I haven't touched Metroid Prime 4 yet either.
Yeah, I also played the beginning of that. It does look beautiful.
That's good.
Play
in
graphics mode and not in performance mode. Because you do notice it. I tried them both.
I also do want to try the mouse mode thing, which this game does not use. So, but yeah. So potentially look forward to episodes on those games in the future. But yeah, that's kind of all I had. I wanted to note that's kind of it. I wanted to note the quality of the Switch 2 and the experience of playing this game on it, and does it take, because we talked about this one, what we could have avoided and not talked about the Switch 2 if we didn't want to, but we could not have avoided it on Robobot. That's not the right thing.
Oh, Astrobot,
because it just puts a PS5 on the screen in front of you at all times. But like I feel similarly to that game where this feels like a launch game for the console that shows off the new technology.
Right.
And it does that in this game with what I think is the most unique mechanic to it, which is that you have rocket launchers from Red Faction as your fists, and you deform the terrain by punching through it, which is an incredibly while maybe not always the most practical thing to be doing. A really just fun sandboxy mechanic that it set the stage for this game so well and made me very excited to like get into it just from the rip, like from the very first level.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I agree. I feel like this game, and maybe it's just my own experience or personal perception, but like I saw the trailer for this game and I was like, fuck yeah. He's back again and about time too. And I was like, I can't wait to play this. But I felt like literally everyone else I brought it up to was like, eh. Like, I feel like this game looked and is so cool, but it really feels like it's not quite catching on with people. And I feel like that's strange. So I feel like this game has a lot of style and it looks fun and cool. And I don't know. It just seems weird to me that people are hesitant to try it.
Yeah. My first reaction to the trailer, I do think it is the trailer. I think that you saw through what the trailer presented on screen to what was hidden underneath, like the scene in The Grinch where they put the X-ray over his heart.
DK Bananza grew 3 sizes that day.
It grew 3 sizes that day. But I looked at it and was like, that trailer looks exceedingly overstimulating. Like, I'm going to have a heart attack if I watch this trailer like twice in a row. Like, there's like a doctor watched it and said, this is as long as it can be. That's as much exploding terrain as people can take in the general public. But actually playing the game is not like the trailer. As many people with brains know. And so I was like, oh, this is like a very sort of, I mean, I wouldn't say comfortable. I think the beginning of the game is a little bit overstimulating in the sense that like everything that you hit explodes into particles all the time. And it's like, it's a very, in my opinion, maybe we can talk about this, kind of a difficult game to get the controls down for. But so there were some opening hurdles, and I wonder if that also plays into it. But I have not seen a lot of people talking about like loving this game. I've barely seen people talking about this game at all, which does seem kind of wild because it is like the first big exclusive game on the Switch too, and I think it actually is quite good. And I'm glad that you brought that up because I was thinking like Andy has to love this game, otherwise I will not, like, I don't understand reality anymore. Like this seems like a game that was like maybe not made for you. It lacks some of the stuff that I associate with your tastes, but it seems like the kind of thing that you would play and be like, no, this was really good.
Right. Yeah,
and just a fun time.
Yeah, I don't know if I would say that it's hard to take to the controls, but like I feel like it's just a lot to take in general at the beginning. Like I felt like the game did take a couple of play sessions to really like for it to click or to like get into it. Because there's a lot of like, I know at least for me at the beginning, like feeling that desire to punch away everything. You know, it's like as soon as you find like a secret just like randomly in the ground in a spot that's like completely innocuous, you're like, well, there could be super valuable, cool stuff everywhere, and I just have to smash through everything. And you spend like a fucking 2 hours in one spot punching everything. So, you know, you do kind of have to like acclimate to it a bit. Yeah.
And it's one of those things where, because the gold in the game is a currency. Like you can spend it for stuff, like apple juice. And so you don't know that at the beginning, I guess. Like, you don't know what the gold is used for, but you see you have a counter of gold going up in the corner. And so you do sort of have this idea of, like, I should be collecting all the gold. That's what I traditionally do when there's gold to get. And so,
it's satisfying to collect.
Into, like, spending a bunch of time just, like, busting up the wall looking for gold. But But yeah, it does like I would say it hits a stride a couple of levels in, but yeah, it takes a little bit, and I think that if you play it in larger chunks at the beginning, you're gonna have an easier time with it overall. Because I played it in sporadic, sort of like shorter bits when I first started playing the game like months ago, and I would forget the controls and like what to do in between times that I played, and it was like always super awkward. I would always punch down when I wanted to jump, which is the opposite of what you want to do, and killed me several times. So there was like a bit of a learning curve multiple times because I was playing it in like a busy adult who has other obligations kind of schedule, as opposed to binging it, which is what I've done for the last couple of well, I guess the last like week and a half or so. I think that kind of held me back a little bit on it. But yeah, once you get used to it, the movement in this game, like the actual controls and like how it feels to control Donkey Kong, are crazy good. And you learn not to spend your whole life just punching through dirt.
Right. Yeah, you move really fast, and a lot of the movement like kind of flow into each other. And I mean, I guess we can segue into this. This is one of my major points that I have, and I feel like you're probably not going to relate to it, but I'll bring it up anyway. I feel like the movement being so quick negatively impacts the pacing of the game.
Okay.
And this might just be a personal taste thing because I like it overall. Like, I don't want to like overstate this, but like, I feel like you move so fast and you just kind of pass through the levels. You can pass through the levels really quick. And it feels like it makes the game a little bit harder to connect to. Like, I feel like you'll show up in like a whole layer with a town. Like, you'll go into the town, you'll buy a couple of things, and then like you might just never come back to it, and you'll just like move on. So like I feel like it can be easy. You kind of have to learn as you play. Like, oh, I need to like stop and smell the roses, because like you can just blitz through this like almost accidentally and be like, oh, there was probably like a lot of other stuff there, but then I just jumped down this hole. And like you can just warp back places, but you know, like you have to keep that in mind, I think. Like just like how quickly you can move and do everything can make it a little bit yeah, I don't know. I feel like it can affect the pacing in a weird way.
Yeah. Well, and it's I do not like that, but I do have to agree with you a little bit. The game is it feels like it's catering to the type of player that just wants to like go through the game as quickly as possible, because it always, every time that you finish like a main objective, it puts you a second away from the next thing that you have to do. The game is always reminding you that you can get a shitty arrow to point to where you're supposed to go by holding the L button. And so I do feel like it wants to sort of like, that is its pacing. And I agree, because there is a lot on all of the different levels. It isn't Odyssey level, like Mario Odyssey, where you could spend like a long time in a kingdom and like find all of the moons. There are a lot of bananas and stuff, but a lot of them are kind of obvious and like behind like prescribed challenges, like the big purple doors that have all of the different kinds of like mini games and stuff in them. And so, and I didn't endeavor to 100% the game or anything. So take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. But I think that part of me, so I agree with you. I like the fast movement. I like the quick pace of things.
Yeah, I mean, I like the movement. I just, I found myself thinking after like I was a few layers in, like, oh, like I really need to like pump the brakes and actually, like, because like the levels are beautiful. And they have personality, and there's like cool little details. And I'm like, I need to actually like stop and like make myself smell the roses, or I'm just gonna be like at the end of this game before I know it.
Right. But then
you gotta make yourself milk it a little bit.
Yeah, but that's my second thing though. Because I agree with you on all of that. I disagree in the sense that they had to do this to make this game completable in anything resembling a
Right.
reasonable
I
amount
also
of
didn't
time.
finish it, so like maybe my tune would change a bit.
It's such a long, and it's not like this is like I have to give it credit, even though I hate that the game is like 20 hours long for some reason. It is. I have to give it credit because it isn't 20 hours long because they packed in a bunch of filler. They kind of did, but you don't have to go for all of the bananas or whatever. Like you can just play the game normally and it's going to clock out to like 18 to 20 hours to finish. And on top of that, it's all just like new, like you're seeing these beautiful environments that are also like have that personality you were talking about. And they just made so many of them. It
Mm-hmm.
seems insane. The amount of content that's in here. And then I've also heard that the DLC, which I don't even really factually understand what it is
Me neither.
apparently quite good also, and is like an endless kind of thing that you can come back to a bazillion times.
It has the Donkey Kong Island theme from Donkey Kong 64 in it, so it makes me want to buy it just because of that.
I mean, that is pretty sick. But yeah, so it's very strange to me that they made as much of this game as they did. Like I'm used to Nintendo putting like a lot of effort into stuff, but like I don't know. It's just weird. Donkey Kong in specific, because this is a Nintendo made Donkey Kong game, which we haven't seen in a while, question mark, ever? I don't know.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
So
since the
it was
GameCube. I want to say Nintendo made like the Donkey Kong Jungle Beat games or
like the
whatever.
bongo games.
Yeah.
They
I don't
might
remember.
have. Yeah. We know that Rare made Donkey Kong 64.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that
Retro
made the Returns games. So
I think they just been working on this for a while. Like I'm pretty sure this was the Mario Odyssey team that made this game. Which they didn't make a sequel to that. So like maybe they might have been like put on to R&D for Switch 2 and have been working on this for like ever.
Yeah, for like almost like 8 or 9 years or something.
Yeah,
at this
probably
point.
not that whole time, but you know, it was probably in the oven for like a good 5 years.
Yeah. That's a great question. Well, and I also had this thought, and you tell me if you agree with me on this. I'll give a little bit of an explanation so that you're not just floundering. Because it probably is the Odyssey team, and I didn't get this feeling from Odyssey, so I don't know where the overlap is. But Donkey Kong Bananza is the most Splatoon coded non-Splatoon game that I've ever played. I refuse to believe that it wasn't made by like 80% the same people.
No, you're not wrong in the sense that yes, it is very Splatoon coded. I think the font is the same. There's some of the sound effects, or I think like one of the like when you put the record on, it goes like it's definitely a Splatoon sound effect in there. And I don't know, it's probably like some of the same staff. Like I think they could borrow aesthetic cues and share resources and things without it being the same exact people that worked on it. But
well, that's true.
Yeah, it was absolutely the style of this was inspired by Splatoon, like no doubt. And also like I don't know, like we talked a little bit about this on the Donkey Kong 64 episode, and this is just pure speculation from us. But like I feel like Nintendo hasn't really liked the direction Donkey Kong's gone in. Like we talked about how like it kind of feels like Nintendo wants to bury Donkey Kong 64, but they did just put it on Switch, so
that's true.
And I mean, like the Returns games were good, but like I don't know, it feels like they've kind of wanted to bring Donkey Kong back in house and give him a facelift for a while, and they've just finally done it.
Yeah,
they just took the Mario team and they were like, "You do it."
But that's the thing is like to me it feels like as somebody how I grew up, right? Like the games that I played when I was growing up. Donkey Kong to me is like by its nature a 2D platformer like series. That's what it's focused on. And so to me this game doesn't feel like a Donkey Kong game in the same way that this feels like a Donkey Kong Mario game. Like this is a Mario game, but with Donkey Kong and the unique things that he brings to the table. And I don't dislike that. As we go on, will become very clear. I think this game is really good. I do find it like interesting. I think that it's like I hope that more games like the Returns games are made in the future. Is basically where I'm at. Like, I love the fact that Metroid has like the Prime games, which are good, but like fundamentally are not for me in the way that the 2D Metroids are,
right?
Which I love. And the fact that those coexist in the sense that they're both being made at the same time. It has always made me really happy as a fan of the franchise. But then with Donkey Kong, I'm just less sure because it's never been stewarded by a particular studio for any, like the longest time is just Rare in the 90s. And that was only honestly realistically like less than 10 years.
Retro probably had it longer than them.
That is true. They just had less output.
Yeah, they just put out 2 games. For some reason, it took them forever to make Tropical Freeze, and I don't know if anybody knows why. But I was gonna say something. Oh yeah, like I feel like since the Switch era, Nintendo's kind of been like looking into kind of not rebooting, but like reimagining or like freshening some of their series. And yeah, I think like they looked at Donkey Kong and they were like, we already have 2D platformers. Like, could we do something different with it? Like, there was a 3D one and that has like a mixed reputation. Like, maybe we try another one of those. So yeah, I think that, they're just kind of experimenting with some of their IPs, I think, nowadays. And I also think that would be a good idea. Like, because there are a lot of references to other Donkey Kong games in this. There are like the 2D levels. And so like it does seem like there's still interest in that in at least some way. So yeah, it would be cool if they could coexist. But yeah, like I think you hit the nail on the head. Like there's no Donkey Kong team like within Nintendo themselves, and it feels like maybe they have the desire to actually create that now. I don't know.
And so it's if you are in Nintendo, it's definitely an interesting time to be looking at other franchises as well, because like you have Nintendo has its roster of things, and there are a couple of franchises like the Yoshi and the Kirby games that get just kind of like, we get like a new Kirby game every couple of years, and like some of them are notable and others just kind of aren't. And like we just got Star Fox is getting a new game that comes out in like 5 days or something, like tomorrow maybe. Even
new game.
Yeah, that is just the same game that they've made on 3 other consoles. On the Super Nintendo, the N64, and the 3DS.
And the Wii U. I mean, Star Fox Zero is basically the same thing.
That's true. Star Fox Zero was like mechanically very different.
True,
maybe this
but
one
it
is
was
as well.
just,
I don't know.
It was just Star Fox 64 again, though, in terms of the structure.
Yeah. So for them to take Donkey Kong and make a Mario Odyssey with it is just like, I don't know, it wasn't what I was expecting, even though we've known about the game for like 2 years now or whatever, but like
I think they're just trying to ascend some of their like B tier series to like their A tier. It seems like they've been kind of trying to do that. And so I guess they were like, why not Donkey Kong?
Yeah. Did you? So you said you didn't finish the game. Did you do anything about like the endings?
No, I didn't look it up because I do anticipate I think I have a 0% success rate with games I say I'm going to finish after the episode. This one I actually anticipate finishing it later, so I don't want to know what the ending is.
Okay. Okay. Well, I will say that you said some things that are more accurate than you know.
Oh, okay.
Already. But yeah,
I know Nintendo well.
Yeah, you do. That is very true. But there are some, and I'll talk about some things later on in more vague terms. Because I think the stuff that I have to say is more spoiler free than, and there is actually a spoiler, so I don't want to like overstep since you haven't seen it. But but I'll put that off till later because there's like part of it applies here, and then part of it can go later on for a different thing. But I'll move on from that and say, so what they made here is like a collectathon game. And I wish I don't really have a note on this specifically to guide me. Because it's something that's kind of been mulling over in my head. It combines, I think, with what you were talking about with the game feeling very fast paced and like rushed. It wants you to sort of move along to like different areas. In this game, maybe contrary to you, I'm not sure, did not feel like a strong desire to try and like collect a lot of stuff. I would get typically just on a regular go through a layer or whatever. I would get enough for like the base or like the second level pants and the Pauline outfit and then like a tie maybe from like the collectibles. And I never found myself with like a lack of skill points to get the things that I needed to finish the game. And I'm wondering if like your slower way of going through it, did you find yourself actually doing more just like hunting for collectibles? Did you prioritize things differently, or were you just kind of more intaking all of the stuff that's in the level, less trying to complete it?
Yeah, the latter. What your approach describes mine, and it describes my approach to every kind of game like this. Like, I'm not a completionist. And it feels like the game is designed for people like me in that sense. Like, I think like it's designed for you to go through it, there to be enough stuff for you to just be able to like pick up what you find, and you be able to get, like a satisfying percentage of everything and not have to feel the desire to get it all. Because like I don't like it felt like the game does not put an emphasis on getting everything like a Mario would. Like, the bananas don't count towards like a total number of bananas. They unlock the skill points, which I think is pretty smart, even though I don't like the trend of everything having a skill tree. I do feel like it's actually designed into this game pretty well. And yeah, so like I did the same. Yeah, like the second level pants, I prioritized getting the hair dye as well, and less so the Pauline outfits, because I gotta have that cotton candy fur, obviously.
That is what I rocked for the majority of the game, I think.
Yeah. But no, so yeah, I was more like, I didn't want to I felt like the game made it easy to get tunnel vision and to just run from point to point. And it was more about just like slowing down and actually taking it in what I was doing and, enjoying the atmosphere and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like I kind of had... I mean, we ended up sort of like coming from two different directions and then converging into a middle ground that we ended up sort of both being in. Except I think we went in two different directions, which I guess is kind of what I'm trying to illustrate. It's like, I think that you played the game in the way that you did, and it resulted in you slowing down over time. And I started slowly and then picked up momentum as the game went on. And I think part of it is just impatience. I was like, how many more levels could there possibly be? And then the game continuing to surprise me with more and more levels for me to go through. But also part of it was like, yeah, I think that shepherding that the game does of sort of like getting you through levels and things and not having to get stars like in Mario, but rather it feeling like bonuses when you went out of your way to get bananas, was smart in the way that the game was designed. And it allows for a pretty smooth experience from start to finish. I will say I also generally, I mean, I won't say that I dislike every game. Well, I dislike every game having a skill tree. That is obviously an overreach of that mechanic. I think that the problem that this game has, and I don't know, this game fell for me a little bit harder than the average Nintendo game, but like still, and when I say average, I mean of the last like 10 years or whatever. I think it was like slightly easier than like a Mario Odyssey was. And Mario Odyssey is not like the most challenging game I've ever played or anything. But I think that the skill tree plays a part in that because it has to design around what if the player just like doesn't choose to take certain things. And so you end up with these situations where like, and I think because I ended up at the end of it needing like I had a bunch of health and I needed the health that I had for the end of it. So it did like reach a point where it made sense near the end of the game. But it did feel like every time that the skill tree automatically opened after I got a skill point, I was like, I wonder if this is why like that boss took me 2 seconds or something. Like, did they have to be like, what if the player doesn't take like X ability, like the zebra running around it hurts people ability, which trivialized a boss for me. And they were like, oh, we had to, if they don't take that, then this boss has to be beatable in some other way. I don't know.
Right. I don't know. Like, I feel like I agree. I feel like it was like a modern Nintendo game in the sense that it wasn't even a little bit challenging for like the first half. But I feel like it was starting to pick up. Like enemies do start to do like quite a bit more damage. And about the point that I quit, like I was having to actually like manage my health and like think about, like what enemies were doing. So yeah, like I don't know. It feels like it does. The difficulty curve just kind of doesn't start until you're like a third of the way in. But yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, it does seem like the kind of game though. Yeah, like if you do collect a bunch of stuff, and like apparently like it's something I didn't learn until I watched a review and felt dumb. I didn't know the clothes had abilities.
Oh yeah.
Like I just completely never even noticed the text that says that the clothes do things. Like I thought they were just cosmetic.
Yeah, they are, and there's one of them that I found. Once again, being a little vague, there is like an outfit for Pauline that you get near the end that I feel like is specifically designed for like if you're having trouble with the last boss. Just because of the way that the mechanics work in that fight. And so, yeah, no, that was the thing. That's part of it. I kept basically this almost was sort of like a Mario Wonder situation where I wanted to like have to get the different clothing options and change them around for the abilities that they had, but like found myself not needing any of the abilities necessarily. So I just like kept wearing the same tie that made treasure chests appear more often. And it was like, now I'll just wear that the whole game, I guess, because I don't need any of the other abilities that it allows for. So yeah, that was another thing. But then once again, at the end of the game, there are a couple of things that do actually help with the slightly more challenging stuff at the end. It was never like super. I mean, I'll talk about this now. The final boss is too long by 10 times.
Yeah, I mean, that's a Donkey Kong tradition, though.
I guess it is. But yeah, it was insane. It was basically there are 3 phases to the final boss, and each phase is separated by an entire Donkey Kong Bananza level. Just occurs in between. And then the last 2 like actual boss fight phases take way too long and are way too similar to each other. It was like the biggest putting the brakes on my enjoyment of the game that I had in the entire experience. Like, I thought that the race, did you get to the race course level?
Yeah.
I thought that the race course was like catastrophically boring and not fun. But it was like, but that would be the only other point in the game where I was like, damn, like they really let me down on this. And then like the end of the game, I was like, holy fuck. Like, do anything else. So it was a very, the whole curve of the game is like fucked up and weird. And it's just like by virtue of how fun the base mechanics of the game are, really kept me going for a lot of it and kept me seeking out more things to do, which the game provided in spades, potentially too many other things to do. But obviously, since I wasn't trying to complete the game, that didn't bother me so much.
Right.
I think it makes sense to talk about. Well, I'm going to start in a stupid way, and I'm sorry.
Of course. As is tradition.
Yeah, the title of the game, and I'm dumb, I guess, for not even really thinking about this when I started it, because I was like consistently surprised every time I got a new one.
Right.
But yeah, so the Bananza abilities, which did you, where did you stop, I guess is the question.
The snake was the last one I got.
Okay.
So I had the monkey, the zebra, the ostrich, the elephant, and the snake.
Okay. That's all of them, I believe. Cool. Yeah. Yeah, so I got a new Bananza for each time. And the thing, I'm glad that you renamed them all. To my knowledge, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, in Donkey Kong the games, there are animal characters that are monkeys, snakes, elephants, and from DKC3, and ostriches.
Right.
Where's this zebra coming from? I honestly, I wouldn't even think it was weird if there were 2 animals that weren't previously rideable animals in Donkey Kong Country games. But then there's just the one zebra. And I don't know why that one was included, unless they're like trying to sneak in a new Donkey Kong associated animal.
I mean, I don't know. There aren't any zebras in Donkey Kong to my knowledge. But yeah, I mean, why not put something new in? It does almost kind of feel like the zebra maybe started out as a rhino, but then they decided to change it.
They just put Rambi in as like an actual guy who shows up in the game. And so they're like, well, we got to make them zebras now. That's possible. I could believe that. But it is, I don't know, just like, it hit me at the end of the game. I was just like, wait a second. I know some of these guys, but not other ones. I think that I was very hot and cold on the Bananzas. Not necessarily, I like the idea of the mechanic, and I think it works pretty well. The meter system, I understand them wanting to have there be like a limitation on how long you can stay in the Bananza forms, especially in like boss fights, but boy, is it not meaningful in any way, because you refill it like instantaneously the moment that you get out of it, just because of the amount of gold that you can like just shit out at a moment's notice. Right. But it was, the hot and cold for me was just like, some of them felt really novel and interesting, and then other ones like the elephant kind of just felt like an extension of what you could already do.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously Kong feels like it's a little bit obsolete by the end of the game, but it does still deal more damage, so you do choose to use it on occasion.
Mm-hmm.
And the charge punch is like kind of a thing. I don't know. I didn't use it very often.
Yeah. I like the concept a lot on paper. I like the meter idea as a way of doing power ups, and like, as like in opposition to you're the classic way where you get a power up and you lose it when you get hit. Um, it felt like a way that made them feel like make it more like a devil trigger or something. Like it feels more like an ability you have and less like a power up, which I
Yeah.
like. But yeah, you're correct. At least, yeah, as far as I ever played, um, like you would just gain it back immediately. Yeah, because gold just spews from everything. So yeah, like I feel like it could have been balanced a lot better, but like I really like it on paper a lot.
Yeah. And I do like a lot of the things that they enable, right? Like I do think I think Snake and Kong, and to a degree, I felt like they had their little moments where they make you use them for specific tasks and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But then they kind of fall by the wayside. But like I really like the
It's
fact
the
that
first
there
and the
were
last one.
it is like the first and the last one. But I do like the fact that the other ones I felt myself like wanting to toggle into to do different things.
Mm-hmm.
Like the elephant one played a big part near the end of the game for me, and the zebra obviously I liked running fast.
Of
I just
course.
like going fast, you know. So that was cool. And then ostrich being able to like fly, like it felt like there were parts where the being the ostrich was sort of implied in the game design but not required, like you could make jumps without it.
And it felt like you could just skip over certain things sometimes if you thought to use it.
Yeah, it felt rewarding for the player, almost in a similar way that like the Breath of the Wild tablet abilities do.
Mm-hmm.
It feels rewarding to use them in situations where they aren't explicitly called for. And I think that's the mark of a pretty good power up. So
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it sounds like you found yourself using them a lot.
yeah,
Because I, in classic Andy fashion, didn't use them that much. Like I don't know what it is. Like I feel like I'm not a big power up person unless it's like a very pure kind of like Mario style thing. Because like I pretty much just preferred to stay as Donkey Kong if I could. Like I'd come to an obstacle and think, oh, I'm supposed to use this to do this, but then would try to do it without it, like and just stay as Donkey Kong. And I don't know why. Because they are like they feel good to use. Like I don't know what it is, if it's just a worm in my brain. But like I will resist using them until I have to for some reason.
I don't disagree with you. I did use a lot of these, but I only started really using them a ton near the end when I had like all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the increased challenge made me think about like what other abilities that I
That would
had.
make sense. Yeah, they're more specifically designed around in a more challenging way. I guess you would have to use them
but
more readily.
I was more like that early in the game though, where I was just like, oh, well, I'm just gonna sit around, because they put it on a resource meter, and I at the time did not consider how quickly it would refill the second that you came out of it. So like I understand, I think, your perspective on it, but it just like it. I would say midway through the game or so, I was like, oh, I could just kind of be in like the super form a lot of the time, and it's just fine. So yeah, I also will say that I do hate the parts of the game that were designed around the elephant power. I found to be like, I liked using the elephant power, but the challenges that they designed for it were not very fun to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like where you just had to like vacuum up shit and walk through like a dangerous zone.
Yeah, there was like a version, there was like a bonus game, whatever, bonus level early on with the Kong power up where you had to like just like destroy a building. Like you had to move up it and destroy these pillars. And there was they did a remix of that for the elephant where you had to like suck all these vines and stuff off the walls, and then like, you know, there were like the purple rock that you'd have to absorb and then throw that at the stone pillars that you couldn't break, you know, and so it would explode and everything. And like, fuck that bonus level. Like, it was so hard.
Yeah, there was a few of them. Like I did most of the bonus levels that I came across, and I made an effort to. I don't know if there's like a document on player psychology that explains why I am like this, uh, but like if there are 200 bananas to get in the overworld, and I will not attempt to get all the bananas. If you put me in a special door challenge that says there are 3 bananas in it, I will go out of my way to make sure that I find the hidden third banana. I don't know what it is. And there was, but with one exception, because I don't think it was that one, but there was one of those doors that I went into and then was like, I got the first banana. I was like, this sucks. And I just left. It's the only time I did it in the whole game. But yeah, they're not all hits, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But it is cool that they had so many sort of prescribed challenges.
Did you have a favorite layer?
Ooh.
You see how it's a hard question to answer because you just run through all of them?
Yeah, right? I'm trying to think of like what because I liked the snake layer, but I did also think that it went on for too long. I think that the snake, it's like called the Tempest layer or something. Yeah. I think that it had a few, it could have cut out some significant portions. So that kind of holds it back for me from being my favorite. I like the one, oh my God, it's one of the ones where you get a Bonanza, but I can't remember which Bonanza it is. Maybe the ostrich one that's like in a hotel.
Yeah, that's the ostrich one. That's the forest layer, I think.
The forest layer. I did really like that one. Where
yeah, I think that was my favorite part of the game, at least that I've played so far. It was the part where it splits and you can go to the freeze layer or the forest layer. And then you have to go back and do the other one. I liked both of those layers a lot.
Yeah. There's a layer, I mentioned this when I was about to finish the game. I was like, I spent all day languishing in the feast layer,
right?
Which is what I thought was the next to last layer. It isn't, but it is also a little overlong. But I do want to shout it out because it's cool. In the sense, it's almost like this game's Bowser's Fury, where it just feels like a whole sort of designed difference in kind type of level where they're like prescribed challenges on a map that you go to. And it is like a whole thing where you're like, oh, it feels more exploration-y. Less exploration-y and more like it is an obstacle course, which I found to be really fun. And I was tempted by all of the side activities in that layer. So I don't, something about that one just like worked well for me. So I do want to say that one is also one of my favorites. Probably not my favorite because it is so different than the other ones.
I've made reference to it already, but there's like a bunch of Donkey Kong like references in this. Like there's a bunch of just little nods to the history of Donkey Kong. Diddy and Dixie show up for the aforementioned race layer. Cranky Kong just shows up with Rambi at one point and just gives you a banana, you know, like it felt really strange, I think, to run across them. Given that like Donkey Kong has had a redesign and they look the exact same as they always have. And I don't know, it felt weird to put them in there if they were going to be such a small part. no, I don't like dislike that they're there, but like it felt kind of weird because this game feels like it
Right.
has like kind of its own identity separate from that. But I don't know. There's all kinds of stuff like even like the little pads that contain some of the, like, I think the combat bonus levels are like the pads that lead to the combat bonus challenges in Donkey Kong 64. And like there's all these little details like the balloons or the, you know, the extra lives and the little plays the menu music from Donkey Kong Country when you go to sleep, you know, it turns it into a little jingle, and there's all these references. I thought that was really cool. That just seems to be like a thing Nintendo's been doing recently. Like I feel like Odyssey was much the same way, where they referenced a lot of like older Mario stuff. So I don't know. I think that's cool. That this game managed to pull off the little hat trick there of like feeling very new and very much its own thing, but then also having a bunch of references to other games in it at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, it does heavily reference other games in the series. I will say I don't necessarily like. I don't care. I guess that Diddy and Dixie Kong are in because they're in the game for like 3 seconds and whatever. But it is weird that they do look different than, like, stylistically they feel different than Donkey does. But it is sort of like a difference. It's the way that the game treats its references. Is they're very often aesthetic references, and the mechanical differences are night and day. It's like a complete different game. I will say the Cranky I will allow because he's like the Captain Toad of this game. You can actually find he's in every level, but he's like kind of hidden. So he gives you a banana if you find him in each level, and I do like that aspect of it. Here's my question, and it's a dumb bad question that nobody should ask, and the answer doesn't matter. I perceived this game as a prequel because Pauline is a young child.
Right.
But Cranky Kong is in the game, and Cranky Kong is the Donkey Kong from Donkey Kong, or no, Wrinkly Kong is the Donkey Kong from Donkey Kong who is now dead and is a ghost as of Donkey Kong 64. I think. But I mean, but there's a time paradox that happens at some point because I don't know how Pauline is a kid and Donkey Kong is the Donkey Kong that we know because that's the Diddy Kong that we know.
Right.
So it's actually a sequel, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, the answer is that you're not supposed to think about that because Nintendo doesn't give a shit about stuff like this.
You're right.
But no, yeah, I mean, I think it's supposed to be a prequel to Mario Odyssey because I think it is supposed to be the same Pauline. But yeah, I mean, the different Donkey Kongs. I don't know. I mean, they go to the center of the earth. I don't know. It's a different multiverse or some bullshit. Who knows?
Time passes at a different rate in the in the core of the earth. Yeah, no, that makes sense. But no, it is interesting to look at because it's the way that they wrap the old stuff in while there is like this other plot line going on. The fact that Donkey Kong is a non-verbal character in this game is, I think, important for making the fact that it doesn't make a lot of sense harder to think about and question because you're like, Donkey Kong just seems to be going along with everything.
Oh, also the pig, the checkpoint flag pig that you once remembered as a character is a fossil in one of the layers.
I didn't even like clock that at all.
Oh, and another one I have to mention is there are trees in certain levels that you can feed gold or whatever, and they grow and they can give you 3 different bananas. And they do it's like the exact same thing as Troff and Scoff from Donkey Kong 64, where he like throws all the stuff at them and then they grow. I was like, oh, that's so cool.
That's pretty neat.
What a reference for just me and only me.
But I'm glad that you saw it and got to call it out, so that's good. We kind of talked about this a little bit already, but were there any like bosses in the game that you felt actually like did anything for you? I found them to be, I'm asking this because I found them to be sort of a weak point in the game. I felt like they were the levels would build up to a thing that I didn't care about and didn't pay that much attention to repeatedly over and over again throughout the game.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think I would kind of agree. Like, I do always like getting new Kongs. We get Grumpy Kong and Poppy Kong.
Poppy Kong and of course Void
Kong. Yeah. I think I like the idea of Poppy Kong where she turns invisible. And I liked the idea of the second version of her fight too, where you use the snake layer to slow her down. But I feel like that just made it way too easy. Yeah, like, I feel like the boss fights, at least all of them that I did, were just way too easy. So I mean, that's like there are a lot of Nintendo games that kind of fall into that zone.
And it's never really been their specialty for sure. Zelda has some pretty interesting boss fights, and Metroid has a couple. It has a couple of fucking stinkers for sure, but it also has good boss fights. But outside of those franchises, I feel like they don't put that much effort into.
Yeah, Mario Galaxy had good boss fights. I think that's the only Mario game ever that has.
That did, yeah. I will say the boss intros also or I think maybe the first thing that clued me in that this was a very Splatoon coded game. I was like, this is exactly how Splatoon does boss fights.
Oh yeah, they do feel a little Splatoon. I think the menus, like the UI, is very Splatoon.
Also true, yeah. Oh, and yeah, we can't. I would be remiss not to at least mention the sound design in this game, which it also has a host of callbacks to older Donkey Kong games, specifically Donkey Kong 64. Maybe the brightest the Donkey Kong 64 star has shown in many, many moons. Getting the O banana and the OK back in this game were pretty impressive.
There's I think there's like an instrumental version of the DK rap or something
that's like one of the things that you can play on the on the phonograph. That's what I had playing the entire game. I never changed it, even though you do have the option to.
DK. Donkey Kong.
Once again, thwarted by Discord having a delay
filtering
between us.
Oh, and that.
But yeah, I think otherwise the sound design is insanely satisfying. I think it is. It's one of those things. It's like almost like a defining feature of like the initial impression of the game, in the same way that I think the like video poker aesthetic of Balatro sort of hooked me on it. I think that the really punchy, pun kind of intended sound design of this game, like as you destroy rocks and like rubble falls around you and like the ka-ching of pieces of gold scattering across the ground, does a lot to, and it's just really bassy and like powerful. I don't know, it's just a really well mixed game, I guess, is the weird thing that I think it does well.
No, I mean, like, the destructible terrain, like, I know people talk about like gun feel with games that have shooting, like the actual actions that you're taking in this game, they similarly feel very like weighty and like, like and the sound, like every like different type of terrain makes different noises and things, and there's the appropriate amount of screen shake when you break through stuff. It is all designed pretty perfectly.
Okay. Is there anything else specifically that you wanted to talk about?
I just wanted to bring up Pauline again, I guess, as a companion character. Just like what you thought about her. Because she really only sings, like which lets you access the at least as far as the game as I got. It seemed like they were setting up for her to do more towards the end, but I did not get to that. But yeah, she sings to open up some of the optional challenges, and then she's like the narrative reason for like why you can transform and do the bonanzas. But like she's just kind of there. And they do this cute thing where every time you go to sleep, she like will like say a little thing to Donkey Kong and whatever. You get the little bonding moments, but I like that she's in there. Like I like a good companion character. It just feels like they didn't really do a lot with her, at least for the 3/4 of the game that I played.
Yeah, I find that I think that Pauline is a little bit more of a like a utile character than a one that's like made for the problem is I think that Pauline serves the narrative more than anything else. She speaks in English. You're reminded of her existence through things like the singing and the whistling and the bedtime stories. Those are all things that remind you that Pauline's in the game. She humanizes things. But this is a game that is like 90% about punching rocks and 10% about its story. And so Pauline does feel like minor spoiler, it does build like she's going to do something, but her role never really changes. They like use her as like an explanation for a mechanical change later. But it's not like it's not meaningful. She kind of blends in to the background when you're actually playing the game.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. I like Pauline. I liked that the game focused on her when it was in those moments. And she served as sort of an emotional core, which I think also works with like the Donkey Kong this new version of Donkey Kong who is mute, who doesn't interact with other people in that way, is more animalistic than he's been in the past.
It also is more of like a direct King Kong reference. Just pair him up with a girl, yeah.
I didn't actually think about that, but that is good because that's what Donkey Kong, like the original Donkey Kong, was sort of playing on.
Yeah.
Also, another slight spoiler: you do get a pair of pants that just has like the girders on them, and they're pretty fucking stylish. I wish that I could wear those pants in real life.
Give it time.
Yeah, somebody will make them. But yeah, no, I agree. I think it would have been nice if, and I think that's what the singing as a shitty era replacement. I think us as people who don't like to use radars and stuff when we're playing a single player game, probably were more detached from Pauline than like if you were a kid playing this game. Well, I mean, you might use that ability more often.
Isn't DK the one that's whistling?
Oh, he is the one that's whistling. But when you hold L to like find your way, I think she does also sing. Unless I didn't do it ever and just don't know. I just assumed that she would sing.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it's just DK whistling.
Huh. Wow, they really de-emphasized her even in that. Justice for Pauline, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, the music was good.
Yeah.
Had Sticker Brush Symphony in there for a minute. That's pretty cool.
That was pretty cool. I enjoyed that.
Oh, I like the little mechanic with the ice machines.
Oh, yeah.
Just a random thought that popped into my head.
I think that it was this is a game that like relies a lot on having mid-level gimmicks, whether that's in the form of new bonanzas or the ice machines, or like there were other ones. Don't at me.
And
these
others.
Exist. And others,
like pounding the watermelons and like the rainbow rocks that make bridges and shit.
Exactly, yeah, and like you can pick them up and they go up in the air.
There were like seeds
lift
that
off
also made bridges.
Yeah, so there's tons of them, like these like little
Little
mid-level
zip
gimmicks, which is
lines,
uh,
etc. There are a
holding
bunch of
rocks over
them.
your head so
Yeah.
as you don't take damage from fire.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I think that, well, with the exception of the one I literally just mentioned about holding rocks over your head, I think that they did a pretty good job with it. So like the ice machine gimmick I thought was cool. I like that a lot of them got challenge levels based
Mm-hmm.
on those mechanics as well. And I feel like that is kind of where you see that Mario Odyssey influence kind of bleeding in, because that was a lot of how that game operated, but just in the form of the enemy transformations. So yeah, I know it's a good call out with the ice machine one. I'm actually kind of surprised, given how much I wanted to compare this to Astrobot when I started playing it, with like all of the what felt like kind of like tech demo-y particle effect stuff. I'm surprised there wasn't more stuff like that where it like put the physics engine at the forefront. But I think probably a lot of that blast processing we were talking about
Right.
just went to making the
And
ground deformation work.
I feel like Nintendo's good at that sort of thing as well, like just making it that stuff kind of fade into the background, and it's just you're just playing the fun game.
That's why we didn't think about it until like right at the end of the
Yeah.
episode.
I can't wait to get to the end of the game and find out that you're saved by a giant Switch too.
Uh-huh. It's like it's like a whole level where you ride on a Wii U gamepad.
Right. You ride back up out of the center of the earth on a Wii U gamepad.
Yeah. Good stuff. Weirdly, there's still a PSP Go there though. Who knows why?
It's Shigeru Miyamoto's personal PSP Go.
I do love, unrelated to the game that we're talking about, how much like individual developers, because they worked for such a massively popular company,
Mm-hmm.
just like had dumb shit that happened in their lives influence like a game that then like a billion people play. So it's like like literally Shigeru Miyamoto. I almost called him Shigeru Nintendo, which literally Shigeru Miyamoto like got a dog and he was like, I'm gonna make Nintendogs. And
Right.
then it's like this hugely popular DS game. And it's like, if I got a dog, not a single person would give a fuck. But
Right.
Shigeru Miyamoto gets a dog, suddenly it's national news. International news even. I know about it. He's all the way over in Japan.
What are the odds that dog's still alive?
Ooh. I think Nintendogs came out like 2008 or something.
Yeah.
So
It's been a while.
not great, but also not technically impossible. Okay. That was my
Just
off-topic
end that
thought
on
for
a
that.
downer.
Do we have fractone thoughts?
My fractone thoughts, and it just popped into my head when I thought of the word fractone. But it's cool that the new NPCs introduced in this game are destructible themselves. That's a nice touch. But anyway, my fractone thoughts. This game slaps literally and figuratively. Donkey Kong slaps a lot of ground. Yeah, like I feel like this game, I was sold on it from the initial trailer. I thought it looked awesome, and it largely bore out to be awesome. I feel like it's a little slow to start. I think it did take a few sessions for it to feel like it fully clicked. Like I started it up, I just ran through some levels, and I'm like, okay, like this game isn't like grabbing me. It doesn't have as much of a sense of place for thoughts I was having early on, and it felt kind of overwhelming. But like, I just kind of slowed down a little bit, took it in a little bit more, and then I think the game does get better as it goes along as well. So yeah, like I ended up really liking this game, and unfortunately am an adult with lots of stuff going on and didn't get to finish it in a reasonable amount of time. So look forward to actually finishing the game, and I hope that Yeah, it's King K. Rool at the center of the earth. Uh, and because bring back King K. Rool as the villain. Come on.
Yeah.
Um,
And I hope that
so
like the Kremlings are there when you kill them. They go, "Huh," like
that
they
would be
do in the
sweet. That would be
SNES
sweet.
games.
There should be at least be a Kremling layer. Come on, don't tell me if I'm right. Um, so yeah, no, but yeah, thoroughly enjoyed the game. I think it's cool how Nintendo has been kind of modernizing their game design over the Switch generation. And yeah, they've now just stepped up to the plate with Donkey Kong, looked at it, said, what could we do? Went with a more modern, like sandboxy. It's all about the game feel and the movement and like how it feels to break things apart. It's a little bit looser and a little bit less structured than their older games. And I think this is another example of them doing it really well. Because the game does feel very modern and it is very good. And I mean, I just think it's good, but it's just got a little bit of a rough start. So like I thoroughly enjoyed it. And if you've listened to this and you have not played the game, if you're one of those weird people who said when you saw the game, you're wrong. The game is cool. Check it out.
Yeah, I largely agree with that. I think how I feel about this game changed at like it changed multiple times. It changed the first time at like the 2-ish hour mark, where I was like, when I got into sort of into the game in a way that I felt like I really understood it, and I was taking advantage of the different mechanical abilities that it came out. Then my opinion of it went down a little bit when I looked up how long it takes to beat, and I was like, holy fuck. Why is this game so long? And then it went back up as I continued playing it. I do think that this game, I agree, its weakest part is getting into it. Once you do, though, it is really great. That first level especially is just like this big tutorial section that's going to make you go around like it's a Mario level, and like it's dimly lit, and there's gold that's going to compel you to like run around and like spend a lot of time in it. And then the very next level, like after you start the game proper, is this like wide open space, and it's like bright, and there's all of this grass and stuff. It feels like a proper first video game level.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes through a lot of that change. A lot of those changes over and over again throughout the game. There's a lot of personality. I'm stealing your words here, but there is a lot of personality to the different levels. I think that is one of the game's biggest strengths. I also think potentially my biggest non-criticism that made me more hesitant to really like the game is that it does feel very video gamey. It feels like Nintendo was like, wow, what do we do to sort of reinvigorate the Donkey Kong franchise? And it's like, well, the thing that works for us the most is when we make a game that is like the kind of thing that you think about when you think of what a video game is. So Donkey Kong's running around and he's jumping and there's collectibles, and the story is very light and focuses on like a very clearly bad villain, and then Donkey Kong is just like this guy who loves bananas, and why would you even pick on him? He's such a lovable dude. And so to me, it felt like it wasn't breaking any ground, except for the fact that you literally do break the ground, and that is the unique mechanic of the game. And I think that it pulls its weight substantially. It is a very fun game just to be in and participate in. I think it justifies its existence. We talked about this a little bit on the Discord, which is the thing that I will be telling you to go join in a few minutes. But the fact that this is like a new generation game and it's like a $70 game, it's like this game has more than enough stuff in it to justify that being its price. And even if I don't really engage with it, I was there for what was there. So this isn't like a big surprise kind of a game, but it was very good. It's exceedingly tightly designed. All of the stuff that you expect that you would hope that like a big money AAA game gets right, like the visuals and the physics and how everything looks when it breaks apart, the sound, the music, all of that is fantastic. It's honed in a way that Nintendo is known for doing. And yeah, the game's fun if a little overlong. So I also liked it. And I'm glad that you liked it, because otherwise I would think I might be in the Berenstein universe. Thank you for listening to Describing the Skybox this week.
What are we describing next time?
Next time, we're going to be talking about perfect tides station to station. If you've been listening to us for a couple of years now, we talked about the first game, Perfect Tides. This is a sequel to that. It's a point-and-click adventure game. It was a game that we both particularly liked, largely due to its writing and characterization and stuff, and visually, things like that. So the new game came out. We said, might as well put it on the list. And so here we are.
Yep. The main characters going to college.
Oh my God. It's going to be a totally different experience. It probably won't be, but guess we'll find out. Until that time, you can get a hold of us. All of our contact information is on our website at describingtheskybox.com or on splattershot.pro, where you can find links to our Discord channel where you can talk about how much it costs to play Donkey Kong Bananza, I guess, and also suggest games for us to play, or talk about the games that we've already played. You can find a link to our Blue Sky account, our YouTube channel. You could listen to any of our old episodes, including ones that we did on... I did briefly mention Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury.
We did Donkey Kong 64, Mario 64, Mario Odyssey, Mario Sunshine, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, Diddy Kong
Ape
Racing.
Escape, Diddy Kong Racing. We did April and Simeon September those 2 years.
Super Monkey Ball.
Yeah, Super Monkey Ball.
Etc.
Etc. Oh, and you can also find links to our Twitch channel and the new YouTube VODs channel, where I just put up a stream that I did playing Slay the Spire 2's open beta early access, whatever, a game that is not out yet that I've already put over 100 hours into. So that's up there as well. Donkey Kong, punch that like button into a bazillion pieces.
Wake Donkey Kong up in the middle of the night to have a conversation in the comment section.
And turf surf to the subscribe button. And then rip a big chunk out of it.
Goodbye.
Do we
Fist thoughts?
I don't know if I like fist thoughts, though. My concern with fist thoughts.
Fractone? Fractone?
That's
thoughts?
way better. Yeah. Because fist thoughts is something that we might need to fall back on in the future.
That's true.